Hey, welcome to TMP, the Mavs pod. My name is Bo at Mavs Highlights on Twitter and X. And you are listening to this post-game recap because you saw Kyrie Irving hit a running 17, 18-foot lefty hook push shot. And as clunky as I just described it, the thing looked like a piece of art. It looked like poetry, right? It was incredibly smooth, as everything Kyrie Irving does on the basketball court is. And at the buzzer sound, the Mavericks win 107-105. Huge home court win against the world champion. That's where I said world champion. The world champs, the Denver Nuggets. Let's run down just kind of the 30,000 foot view before we jump into any of the stats of the game. Is that, man, that Kyrie shot is nuts. I want to just point out, if you ever get to go watch it, look at all of the different movements and how each movement in this play design serves a very specific function. You got to watch how Luka sets a screen either before the ball's inbound. I think, obviously before the ball's inbounded because it's inbounded to Kyrie. So Luka springs Kyrie. Gordon switches over to Kyrie. PJ screens Gordon so that Joker has to pick Kyrie up. Luka carries his man under the rim, so he's completely out of the play, so that the whole paint area is wide open. Michael Porter Jr. is too slow to recognize. There was under 3 seconds to go. So there's not a lot of time. I don't know what MPJ was waiting on, but he was too slow to come off for Joker help. So Kyrie has the whole paint area open. To his credit, for a big lumbering guy, Jokic does a decent contest, but man, when you can go to that offhand like that, that is just incredible. I just want to remind everyone, I shot this out on X tonight. Just remember that Kyrie Irving is left-handed. He was born favoring his left hand, and I guess in his basketball training decided to transfer, because he's ambidextrous, to transfer over to being a righty. So I'm sure his right hand is his strong hand still. It's probably his dominant hand now, but he wasn't born that way. He was born with his left hand being his dominant hand. Isn't that just a weird bit of brain science right there? It's incredible that we could do that. I, on the other hand, could never do something like that. I was a decent shooter when I played basketball, and the idea of being proficient with my offhand at shooting is just bonkers. Just a crazy thing to me to see Kyrie do that, and other NBA players do it too. So just that's the 30,000 foot. What a great win for our beloved Mavericks to get fully over that Oklahoma City loss. Just really, really nice. Let's go over some of the stats, right? So the Mavs only shot for the game, a game in which they won by 2 against the best team in the league, or arguably the first or second best team in the league. They shot 42% from the field. They were 42 of 100. They got 16 more field goal attempts than the Nuggets did tonight. They were 42 of 100. So you might say, well, if they shot 42%, they must have shot a bunch of threes and probably had a pretty good game. Like against the Thunder, I think they shot over 40% as well. No, they shot 42% from the field and just under 26% from 3. Only 9 of 35 from 3. So 42 overall, 26% roughly from 3. And then you said, well, man, they must have shot a ton of free throws. Actually, they shot 1 less free throw than the Nuggets did. The Nuggets shot 22, the Mavs shot 21. You say, well, the Mavs must have gone 20 or 21 and made all their free throws. No, they are actually under 67% on their free throws. Only 14 out of 21 in the free throw. So how in the world did the Mavs win this game when the Nuggets shot 44% from the field and almost 43% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line? Because the Mavs also lost the turnover game. 7 to the Nuggets, which is marvelous. That's incredible. And 11 for the Mavs, which is also really, really good. Like that would be one of the best averages in the whole league. I think the Mavs are at about 12 turnovers a game, I think. Or they were the last time I looked. So 11 a game that's acceptable. That's okay. But when the Nuggets only give you 7, that's incredible. You say, well, the rebounds. The Nuggets are a big, beefy team. I bet they way out rebounded the Mavs. No, the Mavs out rebounded the Nuggets. Catch this stat by 22 rebounds. 59-37. So that's why they had so many more shot attempts, because a ton of those were offensive rebounds, right? They're dominating the Denver Nuggets on the glass. That's just so surprising to me. But I think we need to start morphing, changing the way we think about this team. No longer are we the puny little scrawny team that can only shoot threes. We've got beefy dudes out there now. Washington is big and strong and fast and aggressive towards the boards, and he I think he had 11 tonight. We'll talk about it here in a second. And then Gafford's a good rebounder. D-Live can be a good rebounder. Luka, as we know, is a amazing rebounder for a primary offensive facilitator, whatever position you want to say he is. Small forward, shooting guard, point guard, whatever it is. He's an incredible rebounder for whatever position we want to kind of slot him in as. So the Mavs are a good rebounding team now. We're no longer relying on guys like Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber to chip in on the rebounds. Like, no, we've got these really good rebounders who we can cycle throughout the game. Unless they're going really small and for whatever reason PJ's not on the floor and it's just Maxi out there, like we always have a couple really good rebounders. Even when we go small, we've got Luka and PJ Washington, and Kyrie, for his being a diminutive little guy, is a pretty solid little rebounder. So Mavericks have been dominating on the blocks recently, but that was pretty much a wash. 6 for Denver, 5 for the Mavs. So just a weird example of how important rebounds can be. I know there's a lot of talk on Twitter, right, rebounds don't matter, all that kind of stuff. Well, when you dominate by as much as the Mavs did tonight, 59-37 overall rebounds, you're going to get a whole lot more shots up, right? You're going to get a whole lot more looks, and that was really the contributing factor to the Mavs win, because they didn't shoot well from the line, the stripe, or anywhere else on the court, but they fought, and that's something that I think you really see as a dynamic of this new post-trade deadline Mavs. They are scrappy, they are hustlers, they are fighters. Let's start with the man of the night, Mr. Kyrie Irving. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Not an amazing shooting night. 9 of 23 is not great. You might say, well, he must have done great from 3. No. Actually, no. Remember, the Mavs were terrible from 3 tonight. So, Kyrie was 4 for 11, which, that's okay. That's a 30-something%. I would guess it's like 37% like that, something like that. So that's not bad, but it's nothing to write home about. Only 2 free throw attempts. He nailed them both. And in his 9 assists, he got 3 turnovers. So we'll take a 3-to-1 turnover ratio. So, but the play of the night, I mean, it's gonna be one of the plays of the year. Is that buzzer beater over Jokic. I mean, just absolutely an incredible Kyrie thing to do. Hit a buzzer beater from about 17 or 18, his free throw line extended, on the move with your left hand. Which, like we said, he's ambidextrous, he was born left-handed, but he primarily shoots with his right hand. We all know that. So just an incredible display of skill and artistry from Kyrie on that particular play. And then he hit some big shots. Let's talk about that 25-year-old Slovenian who just, I don't know, he just had a casual 37, 9, and 3 tonight. 37 points on 12 from 27. 5 for 11 from 3, and he hit 8 of 10 of his free throws. A low assist game tonight for Luka. Only 3 assists. That's very rare. But I guess it's not that surprising when your team is going to shoot 26% from 3, right? And 42% overall. So Kyrie picked up a few more assists. Luka, not so lucky. His team was missing the great looks that he was creating for them. But Luka, he gets outshined tonight by his understudy, or by his Batman to his Superman, because of the game winner that Kyrie put out there. But Luka hit a clutch 3-point bomb to tie the game at 105. with just a few seconds remaining. I think with 11, 12 seconds remaining, Luka hits a great three. He was just left too open. The defender closes out, but just doesn't have a chance. And Luka, who wasn't great in that fourth quarter, and overall, catch this, he was a -1 overall for the game, which I guess makes sense. In a game where the score is so close, it's decided on the last shot of the game. Plus minus on a game like this is pretty interesting. So like Kyrie was a +6 on the night. So that means the team was performing pretty well when he was out there. Luka tonight in his 40 minutes, Kyrie played 39, Luka played 40. Luka was a -1. So Luka, the team wasn't flowing its best under his management tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about Denver's 2 stars before we talk about the rest of the Mavericks. Joker, not a good night at all. Only 16 points. Does grab 11 rebounds, but he's going to do that with one eye open. 16 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Also contributed 3 turnovers. In a night where his team lost, they were still a +10 with him on the floor. That guy, man. Now, I was on Twitter chirping about this a lot. That dude gets away with so many foul calls. I know he gets hit a lot, and that is a fair thing. But he's a big old hoss. He not only loves the horse, he's like a Clydesdale, just tromping around out there, man. He's a big old dude. He's got Shaq syndrome, right? The guys that are just overwhelmingly big, they're gonna take more contact. I'm not saying just forget about it because they're so big, but like it's just how it's always been. It's always going to be that way. He gets hit a lot, but man, he gets away with a lot of stuff that should get called. So like tonight, let me see here. He only had 1 foul. Oh my gosh. I was watching the game the same as you. I was going to guess he had 3 or 4 fouls called against him, but it could have easily been 7. And it's only 1. He only got called for 1 foul. Okay. All right. Here, let me talk about Jokic. With all the talk that we have in Dallas about Luka being a terrible defender, boy, you put Jokic in space and watch his eyes float. I'm not saying he doesn't put any effort, but he's not quick enough to defend in space on the perimeter. He just can't do it. You get him out there, and the Mavs did it a lot tonight, and he was not quick enough to work off of a switch because they were switching and get back to the cutting big. There were several D-Live slams, some Gafford points, just because Joker can't move. And he's a plodding guy. And that needs to be said more because he is, I don't know, he's one of the greatest players of all time. I don't know where he fits in the top 30 at this point, but he's somewhere in there already. He's one of the greatest offensive players of all time for sure. But defensively, there is something to exploit there. I see it. I'm sure you see it. And I bet this year in the playoffs, whoever they face each round by round, and hopefully they get knocked off early, I bet you see teams target him more effectively than maybe they have in years past. Now Denver has a team that's kind of based around Joker's weaknesses, but the Mavs specifically, with their strong and heavy pick and roll game, with Luka or Kyrie, with Gafford or D-Live, I would love to also see some PJ Washington rolls. I think that you're going to see more. Coaches are brilliant. They're going to watch what the Mavs did to Joker and putting him in those actions and how he was not quick enough to get back. And they'll copy it, I bet. They're going to copy that. Jamal Murray had a decent night tonight. Actually had a struggle night, excuse me. He was 7 of 20 from the field. He missed a wide open mid-range J that would have given them the lead with, 6 seconds left, something like that. Only 2 for 5 from 3, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. But he is kicking himself. Because he missed some shots that he would absolutely want back. All right, so let's talk about the rest of the Mavs crew before we get on out of here. D-Live tonight, I thought played a really solid game. You're gonna get as a fresh 20-year-old, you are gonna get overwhelmed against Jokic, and he had plenty of his minutes. Of his 23 minutes tonight were against Joker, and Joker beat him up. Oh, no shame, right? no shame. Maybe the greatest offensive player, maybe outside of Luka in the whole world. Yeah, he's going to beat you up. He's probably got 30 pounds on you at least, and he's going to get the favor of every call, and he did. D-Live came out of the game with only 3 fouls. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be 4 or 5. I thought it was at least 4, actually. But D-Live did his thing. So he had 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 or 8 from the field, 0 for 3 from free throw. That's got to work on that big guy. He had one really sweet fast break Euro step dunk. Really nice, like really smooth. His footwork continues to impress me. Like his athleticism, he's light on his feet. He's not a beefy dude, but he is long. He is aggressive. The Tyson Chandler comp is just alive and well, and for good reason. But for all of that, he was still a negative 18 from the box score. Now, you don't want to judge everything because I don't think he was terrible. I don't think he was great tonight. But the team just had its struggle moments when D-Live was on the floor. And I need to go back and rewatch it and see if I missed some things. Because, while I'm watching the game, I'm also posting 70 highlight clips, stuff like that. So I can miss some of the details occasionally because I was excited with the offensive plays that D-Live made and the defensive stance. There was a couple times where he stood Joker up. And there was a couple where he got some ticky-tack fouls for sure. But he stood Joker up and made Jokic have to take a really hard kind of fadeaway shot. And Jokic can make a lot of those, but he missed some because of Derek's defense. So I am just perpetually putting it out into the cosmos, right? Next year, this guy's going to take a monstrous leap. And matter of fact, if he doesn't, I'll be like, why didn't he? Why didn't he? Because it's just right there. It's like a ripe piece of fruit hanging from the tree. You're like, oh, it is going to be so good when it's time to pull this off the branch, right? Next season, he is going to, I predict, explode in productivity. I don't know if he's going to go from scoring 9 points a game to 15, but I wouldn't shock me. I don't know if he's going to go from grabbing 7 rebounds to 11, but 9 or 10 wouldn't shock me, right? So a big net negative for him tonight, but I still like what I see when I see Derek Lively the second. PJ Washington continues not to be able to shoot a ball into the ocean. He followed up his horrific shooting game against OKC with a horrific shooting game against the Denver Nuggets. 2 for 10, 0 for 4 from 3. 3 assists, that's nice. 1 block, that's nice. No free throws, didn't get to the line. Catch this though. He doesn't allow his lack of hitting a shot to pull him out of the game because he still grabbed 11 rebounds tonight and blocked a shot tonight and was a +7 tonight. +7. What was Kyrie? I think he was a +6. Yeah. So +7 tonight. In a game we won by 2, PJ Washington, who can't put the ball in the ocean, was still a +7. The team moves well when he is on the floor. But if you want to talk about the kind of the awesomeness of plus minus, the Mavs, just to remind you, the Mavs won the game by 2 on a buzzer beater, and Derek Jones Jr. is a +20 tonight. In his 24 minutes, he has 9 points, 8 rebounds, only 4 for 11 from the field, missed all 3 of his 3-pointers, only went 1 of 2 from free throw, but grabbed 8 rebounds. 6 of those 8, offensive rebounds. So there's your guy getting in there, being long, being scrappy, making things happen. I love D. Jones, man. Now, I value PJ Washington more, and I think they may have some overlap in competing for minutes. But, man, I love them playing together. I love PJ Washington. I love Derek Jones out there. I really, honestly, I love the Jones-Washington Lively. That kind of that from the 3 to the 5. I love Jones at the 3, Washington at the 4, D-Live at the 5, because those dudes can defend. Because those dudes will scrap. Because those dudes are thinkers, right? You can tell they're watching things on the floor. And I definitely think that about D-Live. I think he is a very cerebral defender. Which of course you want because he's got your back line covered, right? So Derek Jones tonight, 9 points, 8 rebounds. Didn't shoot well, right? Less than 40% from the field. But him being on the floor made good things happen. 9 points, 8 rebounds. He was a +20 on the night. All right, so let's close. We're not going to talk about Hardaway tonight. He didn't really affect the game. He got only a few minutes, which is good. Just leave him on the bench, right? But Maxi Kleber got 20 minutes, got his 20 in, was a -8 from the field. And you say, well, at least he broke out of his shooting slump, right? Nope. 20 minutes, only took 3 shots. Didn't make any of them. All of them were threes. Didn't get any free throws. Committed 3 fouls now. Some of that was against Jokic, so just forgive him from that. Didn't grab any offensive rebounds. Only 4 rebounds. Did dish 3 assists. I honestly don't remember them. And so he had 0 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists in 20 minutes. I think the tide is almost fully turned against Maxi, guys. If he doesn't find his shot real quick, like real quick, there's going to be just no way to have him playing in front of guys like Derrick Jones Jr. or playing at the small ball 5 when you could at least be trying it with PJ Washington. Or I understand that he's a good defender. I understand that Luka's comfortable with him. I understand that he's a pretty smart player, but he is so in his head right now. He is a 0, like literally tonight, 0 points. He is a 0 on offense right now. He just cannot. He cannot make a shot. This is a guy who in the 2022 playoffs, not regular season, playoffs, was shooting above 50% in some of those rounds from 3. Was shooting in the high 40s from 3. Was just an absolute threat in the corners on the break, right? From 3, you had to have him in your sights. You had to know that you had a man rushing out to him to try to make his shot more complicated. And he has just lost himself. I don't know if it's comparable to a baseball player getting the yips, Knobloch not being able to throw from second to first or something. But Maxi just cannot hit a 3. He just cannot score a bucket. And tonight in his 20 minutes, he's a -8. But that's not really the story. That's maybe a conversation for another time. Because tonight was about that game winner from Kyrie! Kyrie Irving! Oh my goodness. Are we not going to see replays of that for the rest of our lives, Mavericks fans? What a nice win. Man, I'm going to be floating above the mattress on my bed tonight. I'm just going to be so excited. Great win. Let's build on it. We're about to enter a lot easier matchups than we've been having over this tough stretch, right? We need some wins coming up against the Kings. I think we have the Spurs coming up next, so that has to be a win. And then we've got a back-to-back with the Kings. And we got to get at least one of those. Getting both of them would really be helpful. So let's stack some wins together, right, guys? I feel like the team is gelling. It's coming together. The post deadline deals are starting to cement. We're starting to figure out the lineups. We're starting to figure out who we like where. I would love for Kid to pull Maxi back and allow Exum and Washington and Jones to get more minutes. Green's going to be out Josh is going to be out for a couple weeks, they said, or they think it's a couple weeks at this point. But let's build some momentum. Let's stack some W's on top of each other. Does that sound like a plan? All right, guys. Go Mavs.